Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to welcome you along to the Measure webinar for today. And we're going to be focusing on a few aspects of tools found in the Room tab. But we'll just wait for a moment or two just to allow any others late joiners to arrive. I see we have one or two still logging in, so we'll just wait another moment. So once again, welcome to this week's webinar. For those of you who've just joined in, of course, we're going to be looking at a few tools in the Room tab today. Not everything, because some of them are fairly self-explanatory, and the tile and pattern section has been dealt with by Caden over the last 2 weeks, so we won't be looking at those. Just quickly, we're going to start over in the Enhance section, and we're all pretty familiar with the transitions tool, I'm sure, but let's just remind ourselves about the multiple transition application. So in order to be able to demonstrate this, we're just going to draw in a couple of rooms here. Just roll around here. So we want to put some transitions in. And we go back to the Room tab and we hit that multiple transitions tool, and it brings up this multiple transitions box, and we're just going to say that everything in here is correct, the information. We're not needing to change anything. But notice we have to click on the room, then click the first edge of the transition. We work around clockwise. So let's just start with the room that's selected here. And you'll notice that on the end of the cursor, we've got this little room shape. So we just put in the point, and where are we going? Not up there, down here. And it automatically throws that transition in. And same for this room, we select it, throws it in there. We've got one more, select the room again, and drop another one in down here. So it's a very useful tool, and one that's worth remembering up here in the Enhance section. Now, there's something here that I'm going to show you that you won't have seen in the version of Measure Premier that you're using, because it's only out in beta versions, but it's about to be released in a public update, which is going to come out within the next few weeks. And it's a quick Stairs editor. So it gives us the option. Those of you who use Measure Mobile will be familiar with the format of some of these predefined stairs that are here. Let's just drop one in over here, and it operates in sections. So if we select, say, the landing that's split into 3, now you notice that's selected, the other 2 runs aren't. And if we double click on this, it brings up the Stairway Editor. Here we can name it, apply the multiplier if we wish, select the product. Change the number of steps. In this case, because we have the landing selected, we can't change its step width and tread depth there. they're governed by limitations because of the shape of those steps. Lay direction, stringer height, etc. We can change the way the cuts appear on the estimate tab. We can have rectangular cuts, which is probably the norm, or we can they can appear as allocated individual cuts. Just to perhaps indicate a few of the things that can be done here. If we select this one, the run up the bottom, and perhaps for some reason we decide that it needs to be only a metre up that side, we can change the step width there, and it gives us a narrower section of stairs than we've got on the other side. So the Stairway Editor is a useful tool, and you'll notice when it becomes available to you that there's quite a bit of versatility, and there are ongoing improvements being made with it to make it more useful. These sections can be detached from one another as well, and so things can be moved around. So if we were to select sections, we go back to the Room tab, and in the 3D section here, we can detach, and then we can separate those segments and if we need to do anything with them. So that's something to look forward to very shortly, the Stairway Editor. Moving along in the Room tab, we're going to just look briefly at borders. Borders can be accessed either by the icon here in the Room tab, or of course we can right click with the Room active and bring up borders. Now what if we wanted to say put an insert of a product, a plank product around a room, but it was stepped in, say 150 millimeters within a room that's got carpet as its main flooring product. How are we going to deal with that? Well, let's first of all put in the first section. So we want it to be 0.15. Now the thing to note here is that despite visually that it looks different, you can rest assured that in fact it's the same product being used, even though it looks like it's darker in that border section. So then we would go to the editor again, and we'd add a border inside. We'd choose our product. We want a plank, and we're going to put in this black box. And we need to just select these and select the lay, and just work our way around these. So there we have our inserted timber plank using the border tool. Going back to the Room tab and moving over to the Shape section. So we're going to look at the Join Room and the Punchout tools particularly. Let's just, as an example, to illustrate using these tools. Here we've got a bathroom, a bedroom and an ensuite. Now, let's say for some reason you decided that rather than having the two different materials, we've got tiles here in the ensuite and we've got carpet in the bedroom, we wanted to have the same material running through. Well, we can do that by joining the rooms together. And even though we've got a transition in here, we won't worry about that. So if we were to select the bedroom, right click and insert a point at each side of that transition, then if we were to grab the handle, pull that out through over the ensuite, select the ensuite by while holding control, and then we go up to the shape section and we take the join tool, we hit that, and now we have one room with the product running right through. Now, of course, if we really wanted to do this, it's not likely we would want to have the carpet running through into the ensuite. We'd likely want to have the tiles running through the bedroom if we were going to make any change at all. So this just illustrates you need to watch which room you select when you do this. So if we just go back, and if we start from the ensuite, make that active, we insert those points again. Join that, and now we have tiles running right through that section. The Punchout tool, which is also located up here, this really operates very similar to the hole tool that we have in the Home tab, the options we've got here in the drawing section, rectangular hole, and the various other options, shape options. Really can accomplish the very similar things with it, with this Punchout tool. If we were to draw another room over the top of it, we draw another room just to with a quick one in there. And then select the room behind, hit Punchout. And we see we've achieved the same thing we would do with the hole tools, really. Having looked at the join room tool, the Punchout tools up here, the rotate clockwise, the rotate anti-clockwise, the flip vertical, the flip horizontal, they're pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to spend time on those. And so is the rotate by angle. Simply select the room, hit that, and you get an option of putting in whatever degree rotation you want to achieve there. The expand size of a room tool, that can be useful. You can, in fact, decrease the size of the room. You can put a negative there, which I have sitting there at the moment. You'll notice if I hit that where as it stands, the room slightly decreases in size. So that's a useful tool depending on the situation you're facing. The split tool, no doubt you've used this many times, and simply enables you to split. The room is useful if you're wanting to drop in another product, part of the room. The lock and unlock, that is also useful. If you have the room selected and you lock it, you'll notice that all the handles disappear. The room looks like it's active. You see the red line, but there's no handles. And because there's no handles, you can't move it or change anything about it until you activate it to that degree again. So you've got the red line, go back up in here, hit unlock, and now you can do what you want with it. Let's just move across. Actually, before we do that, one other fit to grid. You'll notice that when you hover over it, it says realign start points, which can correct issues with overlaps or allocation failures. So when you have any of those problems that come up, you get an alert. Go to this tool, and you notice where this room is here, I'll just move it around and drop it into place. If we just zoom in a little bit, because it is selected, if I hit this, you'll probably detect a little bit of a movement, slight movement there, and it's just realigning itself. So useful to keep in mind. Moving across to the 3D effect section, we're going to first of all look at creating stacks. And so to do that, I'll just get rid of that, and we'll throw in a quick room. And so to create stacks, we go here to this tool, which brings up an editor. You notice there's a couple sitting here already, but let's go through the process of making one. And say that we want to have eventually coving in this room. So the first 150 mil up the wall, we don't want any product there. So we can accomplish this with this tool by selecting none, and we're going to put 0.15 in there. We want this to fold toward, and you'll see that over here in the little section that shows what's happening on the left, you have a good indicator that you're getting the directions the right way. And so we'll leave everything as it is there. We don't worry about the horizontal edges or the vertical edges with products for this example. You hit OK. I've got a name in there that's the same. So there we are. We've got that first level there. The stack's finished. We could use it if we wanted to, but really we need to do more with it. So let's add a panel from the plus here of product. We're going to put some vinyl in here. Put this vinyl in, we'll go up a meter. And we do want to go flat this time. We're just going straight up this wall. Let's add another one while we're here. And we're going to put in a different vinyl. We'll go up 1.295. Once again, we're just keeping on the same plane. And that stack is completed with what we want. So we can insert that. And we want to change these for the library, because they can stay there in the library for next time. And there we go. And you'll see that this white area here is the 150 mil. And as soon as we put in the coving, that's going to take care of that difference, and we won't be wasting any material running down below if we wish to do things that way. When it comes to stacks, we also have a rectangle hole in stack tool. So this will enable us to run a hole right down into, we don't want to specify trim material. So we can run a hole right down through multiple panels on a stack. You see that it's gone through effectively 3 panels, although there's no material in there. It is a panel at the bottom, and then this the orange one and the purple one. So that's quite a useful tool too, where we need to make rectangle holes in stacks. Creating walls is very similar to creating sides, except when we just throw another quick room in here. If we create walls, we throw them right around. Whereas when we do sides, we have the option of how many of the edges we put a side on. Having said that, of course, it is possible to delete a wall, and then we, if need be, after having put it in, we decide we don't need it, it's possible to remove that wall. But let's just look at adding a side, and we're going to use an example, or to demonstrate this, we're going to create a bath cradle. So to do that, well, first of all, just run our rectangle tool in here, and we'll put the product we want in there, which will be ceramic tiles. Now the first thing we do is just move that room along to the edge of the bath, where we're going to create our first side. So this is the first vertical side coming up, the side of the cradle. So if we select that wall, go back to our room tab, we add a side, and we're going to go 0.65, and we want this to fold towards, so this is coming, it's going to come up from the floor. We hit OK. So this is the vertical section. Now, if we just select both those what is effectively rooms now, and we just move that along, to there, we select that panel, that side, and the edge of that side, the top edge in effect, and we're going to add a side, and this time we're going to go the width of that bath, which is 0.77, and we want to fold away this time. So having hit that, we hit OK, and we're going to select each one of these sides around the bath by clicking and holding Control, going back up to add side, and this is just a little splash area around the top. I'm going to make that 0.3, and once again this is going to be toward, it's coming up again, hit OK. And with this panel, we're going to just go to the Home tab, hit the rectangle hole, and let's drop that in there. No, we'll select this top, the top edge. We'll go back to the Room tab and hit the 180-degree arc, which is near enough for what we need here. Do the same with the bottom. And there we have it. So really what remains to be done now is we select the whole lot and move it out so that the floor area is covering the room as it should. And then we can hide the cradle that we've made. So that's an example of using adding sides when it comes to creating in the 3D section. So really that was what I wanted to go over today briefly, looking at some of these tools available in the room section. If you have any questions regarding what we've looked at, please feel free to send them through now. And Caden is actually online with us, and he'll handle any of those that you may have. And just remember also, while you're typing any questions out, if you have any, that this webinar recording will be available via makethemostof.rfms.com. It'll be up next in the next day. And you can also perhaps find it directly at YouTube. We'll just wait a moment to see if there are any questions. It doesn't look like there are, but if anything comes to mind, please feel free to get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that perhaps may come to mind through something you've seen, or maybe you're thinking, well, I'm looking at this or that, and could this be used for this or that? If that sort of thing comes to mind, please feel free to get in touch with us. But thank you for attending. We do appreciate it, and we look forward to providing another webinar for you again soon.